Is there a prompt? There are 6 emergency exits.
Hello, everybody. This is Ron, your captain speaking. We are currently 30,000 feet in the air, and we haven't even left the airport. We just lit the joint. Just kidding, a little pilot humor there. We like to have fun. Our destination today is Casablanca, Morocco. So everyone, sit back, fasten your seatbelts, and prepare for takeoff. We will be arriving in 6 hours.
7-footers gang, what is going on? It is Jenna and Jarod back for another exciting NBA episode, and we got to talk about a lot of things going on in the league because, Jarod, as you just pointed out to me before we went live here, we're 25% of the way through?
Yeah, we're at the quarter away point. It's crazy, right? It seemed like a while ago. It's like, man, when is this ever going to happen? What's going on? And it's like, no, we're here. We're at the quarter mark.
How far are we going to make it? What's going on now? Guys, games are still postponed. They're still being postponed, but we're managing to plug along here, and hopefully we can have a better month in February and less COVID contact tracing and more players active, please.
Yes. Less players in protocol.
Exactly. We need to talk about where teams are ranking, what it's looking like right now, and what the gist of the NBA is, and who really are the front runners. Because now we can't use the tired old excuse that it's too early, y'all. Let's pump the brakes. Let's see how they mesh together. No. Now let's put our foot down and talk about who's a dumpster fire and who's on their way to a chip.
So I haven't used dumpster fire. We'll have to bring that one back. Like which teams are although we're not really ready for dumpster fire talk right now. This is about top 5. Who were the best teams in the league, right? This is kind of where we're at. Well, Jenna, I think as again we mentioned, it's the quarter-way point of the season. Obviously, I think right now the two teams I have is 1 and 2 in the league are the two LA franchises, the Lakers and the Clippers. They, to me, right now, are performing at a tier above everybody else. They're just excellent right now. And again, when you have the star power of a LeBron James, Anthony Davis with the Lakers, and a Paul George, Kawhi Leonard with the Clippers, I mean, it's a beautiful thing. And to be quite honest, these teams aren't even, if you look at it, I don't think they're even playing that hard right now, right? Like they are, like they're kind of like they're on cruise control right now, and they're at 13-4 and 14-4. Like it's just like they're just we out here, we're chilling, we're good. Like we know we're ready now. The Lakers, I will allow that because they won the championship last year. Clippers, look, y'all better not think you can just pull some on-off switch because we see that on-off switch didn't work last year when you got boat raced after being out 3-1 against the Denver Nuggets. But I will say those two teams are the best. The Lakers are still playing well defensively. They have the 2 best net ratings in the league right now. Lakers at 9.7, Clippers at 7.7. They're just phenomenal, right? Clippers number 1 in offensive rating. It's just, and Lakers are number 1 in defensive rating. These teams they're good. They're gearing up for a long postseason run. So I like where they're at right now.
I agree. I obviously have the Lakers as my top team right now. They are performing the best, as you just said. I mean, they're on a 10-game winning streak on the road right now.
Yeah,
so
8-0, 9-0 on the road, yeah.
Exactly, and we'll get to it. But my boy LBJ dropping 46 the other night. Don't get me started.
Oh boy, we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Exactly. But what I mean is, my point is that he's performing at peak levels. So again, when you have LeBron James like that, not putting all of his foot on the gas, and he's still doing that at that age, it's a little scary. But hey, it is what it is. The king. The Clippers, I have them too because they are performing offensively incredibly. And like you said, though, this needs to keep going because as soon as they decide to, as you said, pull that switch back, that's when shit gets messed up. All right. Now we need to also check in on Paul George, make sure he's doing well because, he goes through the mentals a little bit more than others.
Paul George,
I hope he's doing good.
Paul George is, playing like an MVP candidate right now. He is, we'll see, and here's the thing, right? He's regular season P, right? Like that doesn't seem to be the problem. Now the issue where he comes,
it never is the problem,
right? It's playoff P, that moniker that he likes to put on himself, and we've seen the last couple of playoffs. Well, you haven't been that great, right? So
he hasn't really been there.
So it'll be interesting to see what he looks like in the postseason. But he's talked about, he hears all the haters and the people talking and whatever, and it's like, Paul, that's cool. You can hear all the people talking, and there's no problem with that. But where you're going to shut them up, is in the postseason. So you do you regular season, that ain't gonna matter. What's gonna matter is come postseason time, are you guys on a deep run and are you showing out? That's good. That's what's gonna sort of stop that chatter. Coming in at number 3 for me right now, and let me tell you, this team they're on talk about a winning streak right now. The Utah Jazz, they are 12-4 right now, and they're playing so well. Offensively, Quinn Snyder has remade this team. They're shooting threes and shooting a lot of threes, and they're making them right now. And Bogdanovic, their best shooter, is actually shooting the worst out of everybody right now. Donovan Mitchell's made a step up. I mean, it's just they are. Of course, we know what Joe Ingles does there, and of course, Rudy Gobert inside playing defense. I love what this team is doing right now. They've remade themselves in a way, and I like what I see. The challenge for Utah is always going to be come postseason. Who is that reliable other piece? And of course, I failed to mention Mike Conley. And Mike Conley, last year was a bit of a struggle for him, right? Because he'd played his majority of his career, or his all career, in Memphis with the Grizzlies. And that was a very different system and different style, right? Where he was the point guard and he was the one that controlled the ball. Now, playing with Donovan Mitchell, where Donovan's the guy on the ball, he had to learn how to play off ball. It took him some time to kind of get it together. But now a year in, he's figured it out. They're playing well off each other. I just love what Utah's doing. And again, their challenge, though, is that in the postseason, who is that reliable wing that they have that can, score some points for them and somewhat mitigate the other big-time wings in the league. But, for right now, this Utah Jazz team is excellent. We talked about their offensive rating. They're top 6 in the league at 113.7, and defensively, they are number 3 in the league, right, in defensive rating. So they are there. Yes, we're at the quarter-way point. We'll see how it holds up. But I love what I'm seeing out of Utah right now. So they come in at number 3 for me.
Jarod, I'm getting a little terrified of our list here right now. Because, honestly, when I was doing this and, prepping for today's episode, I actually, surprised myself when I wrote Utah Jazz down. Because I never thought that would happen. But, again, like what I'm seeing out of them, we do always talk about, though, who is that third piece that's going to really take them to the next level. So we'll see how they can perform like this pending injury, but we'll see. I mean, again, from 3-point range, they're incredible. They rank 2nd in the league right now. So they're on a tear. They just have to have consistency, in my opinion. And I think that, like you said, Donovan Mitchell took a turn, which he did after a slow start. But Shaq, put some fire under his ass, got him going. You know what, though? I almost knocked over my ring light. That's why I just almost freaked out. But I don't think we did mention this or talked about it, but I commend Donovan Mitchell for how he handled that.
Yeah, and
took it like a man, took it on the chin.
I don't want to give this too much credence because too much,
I know what you mean, though.
I just listen. We love Shaq. He's funny. But, honestly, the inside the NBA guys on TNT, really got to stop with the way they hate on the younger players in this league. And, it's silly. Listen, you can do your thing and have your stick and be the jokey, funny crew. That's fine. But this idea of, I bullied him into being a superstar. It's dude, no. I
know what you mean.
It's just tired and dumb. We don't need that.
Amen to that.
Donovan Mitchell doesn't need you to motivate him to get better. You know what I mean? He knows what he's about.
Exactly. Yeah. And again, we won't give it time, but well put. And that's a whole other conversation. So moving forward.
Yeah.
My next one, because in case you say this, I have to have a leg to stand on here. Okay. All right. I have the 76ers.
They're in my 5. They're not. They're not number 4, but they're in my 5.
Joel Embiid is making an early campaign for MVP. He's showing out finally, and hey, roll the tapes back. This is what we said he should be doing. He's performing to his full potential, if not almost max potential, and I can't wait to see what else comes out of this. And again, when they have the whole entire squad clicking on all cylinders, especially under Doc Rivers, I'm here for it. And if we can get Joel Embiid to continue this type of performance, again, this heavily pending with injury, because we know his history.
Right.
The Sixers can be a dark horse here. After many were worried. They
could be more than a dark horse. They can be a freaking finals contender. Look, I have the Sixers in my top 5. They're 5th. So I'll talk about them now, and then I'll talk about who I had ranked fourth next. Look, the only reason why I have them fifth and not fourth is because the schedule up to this point so far for them has been kind of soft, right? They haven't really played
low grade wins,
right? Any of the top tier teams. However, Joel Embiid, as you mentioned, is for sure playing like an MVP. Look at some of his stats right now, and forget about like the counting stats. I mean, like, I use counting stats, but like they're 27 points a game, 11.5 rebounds. Okay, great. Like the things that matter to me are the advanced stats. He's a 31.1 PER right now, which is stupid, right? That's definitely leading the league. His true shooting percentage, and that, like, for a big man and like what he's doing, because he also, not only does he score in the paint, he also takes it out a little bit, right? He's on another tear. 67% true shooting right now. He is otherworldly. And remember too what he does defensively for this team as well, right? I mean, he's the man. Like, he really is that dude. And right now, again, Doc Rivers being there, having Tobias Harris playing better. We call Doc Rivers the Tobias Harris whisperer, because clearly when Doc is his coach is when he performs at his best. And Tobias has been killing it. Ben Simmons, even though his, like, again, counting stats, his points per game are down, if you watch the games, he's impacting them in so many ways on the defensive end, initiating the offense early, taking over late. The other day against Boston, when Boston kind of made that mini comeback and looked like they could potentially win that game, he went on a tear by himself, right, on his own mini run, and won that game essentially for the Sixers on both ends, defensively and offensively. Yes, I know he doesn't shoot threes, and that bothers me as well. However, the things he does do are really impactful for this team. And look, I picked them to go to the finals last year. So,
you did.
I mean, it would not surprise me if they were in the Eastern Conference Finals making a run at the NBA Finals, because I say this all the time. They have two all-NBA players on offense and defense who are 25 and younger. How do you not make the NBA Finals with that kind of talent? And to credit Daryl Morey, the pieces fit better around them, right? They've got shooting with Seth Curry, right? Again, Doc has unlocked Tobias Harris. The Danny Green. It's just, things just make more sense than how it was set up before. So I'm liking what I'm seeing out of this Philly team.
I completely agree. I think the addition of Seth Curry has been one of the best things to ever happen to this current squad. And I feel like a lot of people, we don't talk enough about Seth Curry. And yes, he has had a, game absence for a minute here, but when he comes back and the impact he's going to have, especially offensively for this team, it's just, they're firing on all cylinders at the moment.
Mm-hmm. No doubt. No doubt.
I like what I see.
Yeah. The other team I have in my top five are the Milwaukee Bucks. Record-wise, they're fine. They're 10-6, but like they're not, racing out to that huge lead as they did in seasons past. But they're still the number one offense in the league, right, in terms of offensive rating. And defensively, they're in the top 10 on defense. Look, I think Milwaukee's maybe figured some things out. I love Drew Holiday having some pieces there, having him here. Bobby Portis has actually been a revelation for them. It's been interesting. They're doing some things that kind of make sense. Chris Middleton's playing well. And all this given Giannis is having a slower start to the season than he had in the past couple. But just like the Clippers, Milwaukee, the regular season, this doesn't matter. Where we're going to judge them is come postseason, right? Because now, it's been 2 years in a row now. They've been the best team regular season-wise. And then come postseason, they even make it to the conference finals. So this is where we're judging. Is this the year that Bud makes the necessary adjustments, that they do what they have to do, where they get to the next level?
I like it. I tussled between the Bucks and this next team, which is the one that I selected right now, just because I'm impressed. The Denver Nuggets.
Listen, the Nuggets are, so again, much like Milwaukee, record-wise, you're kind of like, they're not, but net rating-wise, I mean, they're playing well, and offensively, they're right up there.
Offensively, and they rank like 9th defensively right now, like recently anyway. But again, Jamal Murray continues to prove that he can be clutch still after his bubble run. I mean, you watch that Phoenix overtime game?
I did watch. Here's what I will say about Jamal Murray. I need him to be more consistent with it, though, right? And I think 'cause what you're having is these games where it's like, yeah, he'll score 30, but then there's games where he's like 8 points. And if you are a superstar in this league, like even so, Brooklyn played last night and they didn't really shoot the ball well, right? Like none of them shot well, but they all ended up in double digits in points, like because they're never gonna not. So that's the thing about Jamal Murray. Even if your shot's not there, you gotta find a way to still get yours and affect the game when you're not scoring, and that's the piece that he still hasn't quite done. And I know, look, I'm comparing him to Kevin Durant and James Harden and Kyrie Irving, which is a little bit unfair because those are all NBA caliber players. But if he is to be who he thinks he is and who Nuggets fans hope he is, that's the level that he's got to take his game to.
Right. Agreed. And also Jokic too, he could be doing better at the moment, but still, I mean, he's still killing it on the offensive end. I mean, he's not.
Jokic is an MVP candidate right now. He is playing extremely well right now. He's averaging basically a triple double. No, Jokic is fine. Their issue again is who's the reliable second guy? Is Jamal Murray the bubble guy, or is he who he's normally in the regular season? That's their thing.
Well, Michael Porter Jr. is back, so
that's helpful.
We'll see what he can do.
That is helpful. And Michael Porter Jr. Listen, you know how I feel about Michael Porter Jr. He's excellent, an excellent offensive player. Scored 30 last night in a win over the Mavericks. Like he's so good, and he's still so young and has no idea what he's doing defensively. But like I just, I mean, you could tell it's like, oh god, disaster. But look, Denver is playing well offensively. Defense is still my concern for them. Can they get the requisite stops when they need to? But look, if that offense is humming with Jokic, Murray, Michael Porter Jr., on most nights, that's going to be enough. It don't matter what kind of defense you throw out there. But again, all these teams we're mentioning, regular season's all well and good. We're going to judge them on what happens in the postseason, right? That's where it matters. And, I didn't mention this team just because whatever. There's still teams who are out there who are very good who didn't quite make my top 5, but Brooklyn and the Celtics, they're hovering right out there. We know what's going on in Brooklyn. Their big three is trying to mesh together and get their chemistry and continuity down back. And with the Celtics, Kemba Walker just came back, and Jason Tatum just came back out of the COVID protocol, so they're trying to like reacclimate themselves as well. But I anticipate those two teams as well having a strong say on what goes on in the postseason.
100%. And although we're at a significant point in the season, that's again, I say this all the time. This is what's great about the NBA. There's enough time to turn it around. So this isn't the NFL. It isn't like 15 games.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
There's still time.
In the NFL, if you are a quarter of the way through the season, that's 4 games. If you're 0-4, likelihood of making the playoffs real slim. If you're 0-4, right? It's just not.
Good luck.
But in the NBA, the quarter point, we still have more games to go. That is the advantage for sure.
Oh, thank God. But yeah, I did have some of those teams that you mentioned as well roaming around in the 5 to 10 area. So yeah, we'll see. I like what I'm seeing, of course, from the reigning champs. So
Oh, I know it.
But let me ask you, because it's all fine and dandy when we're throwing everybody flowers, but let's talk about what you dislike right now, quarter way into the season. What's your dumpster fire team?
Well, I mean, dumpster fire is such a... Look, the Sacramento Kings are up there as among the dumpster fires. I mean, worst defense in the league. They are atrocious. The Washington Wizards, oof, God, they're awful. So bad. Look, here's the other thing, too. Portland Trailblazers fans, you're not going to like this, but and we talked about it last week, with CJ and Nurk being out, man, and it's just Dame... Yep. And those wing positions, Covington, they're not really doing a whole lot. Not great. And a disappointing team. The New Orleans Pelicans, man. 5-10, like, defense is better, but I don't know, man. I feel
like we've been having this reaction, though, about the Pelicans. And we keep saying, there's so many good, fun, young pieces, but, like, why can't we make it work?
Yeah.
So, seems like somebody may have to go.
Well, I don't want to go crazy and say people got to go, but although we did hear today that Shams Charania tweeted out that the Pelicans they have been receiving phone calls about Lonzo Ball and JJ Redick, and they are willing and they're listening to making trade offers. Look, with someone like with the way Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson are playing, we expected better than 5-10, right? This is a team last year that was hovering around. Can they make that play in and get in and be a fringe playoff team? Mm-hmm. I'm just not seeing it right now. And to be honest, the Memphis Grizzlies are playing better than they are. And the Grizzlies didn't have Ja Morant for a considerable portion. And Jaren Jackson Jr. hasn't played all season, right? I mean, so
we said that they were basically done.
Yeah.
We were just like, okay.
And guess what, man? They get Triple J back soon here, and they go on a little bit of a run. This Memphis, they're not afraid of anybody, right? And they showed it last year with how they played. So, but yeah, in terms of disappointment, it's in New Orleans. I'm really disappointed in where they are right now. Look, obviously David Griffin is in it for the long haul with Stan Van Gundy, but these pieces just seem to be odd fitting. And then the whole Zion Williamson thing. Yeah, there's games where I'm like, all right, he scored his 30, he's doing his thing, but he is not making the impact on winning that I guess many people anticipated. And maybe it was unfair to place that much pressure on him. Because remember, everyone was saying, he's the greatest prospect to come into the league since LeBron James. Well,
no, very true.
That's a lot to put on somebody. That's a lot.
We had that conversation on this podcast, and I can't help but be reminded of not the same caliber player, but similar, a former number 1 draft pick, Markelle Fultz, who this semi happened to, in my opinion.
Except the sad thing about Markelle is Markelle went to Orlando and was playing well before he got hurt. Like he actually kind of refound his whole game and, was doing okay down there. Mm-hmm. But then, got hurt this year and he's out for the rest of the season. So. Yeah.
I mean, it's hard. The pressure that these players are put on, you make them the guy, the face, mm-hmm. the man. You're giving them sneaker deals before they've even stepped foot on the court. Hey. And again, that's no shade toward him.
No, it's just
I never understood that.
It's not working as well. And JJ Redick's having a bad year, start to the year shooting wise. Lonzo Ball's been kind of meh. But with Brandon Ingram, who was an all-star last year, you expected to see more. So, and it looks like they're going to be doing some trades to kind of make this team fit together better. Potentially give Nickeil Alexander-Walker the point guard keys to the franchise and let him do his thing.
Hey. To add to this argument, I guess I'm not impressed with the Warriors, even though I just, and this goes for actually a lot of teams too. You had a really, 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 really long vacation, and I just, everybody's so eager to get back. But what's going on with the Warriors? I mean, again, the absence in Klay Thompson is obviously felt, but I mean, the Grizzlies are doing better than them right now.
Well, not technically, but
I'm being funny, Rod.
Well, here's the point, though. I hear what you're saying. I think, look, and Warriors Twitter right now is upset with Steve Kerr and sort of how he's running the offense. They want to see Steph with the ball in his hands basically all the time, running pick and rolls and just launching bombs from everywhere. But that is not Steve's philosophy, right? Like Kerr believes in ball movement, player movement, no stagnation. That's what he wants. He wants back screens, guys cutting. I mean, that is his ethos of basketball. The thing about that is that works well when you have Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. Yeah, that all works out beautifully. But when you got Kelly Oubre and Andrew Wiggins and James Wiseman, not as good.
At one point, Andrew Wiggins was grasping the role of the number 2 guy. Not saying he deserved it, but still, what the actual hell?
Listen, it's going to take. First of all, this is the first time that Andrew Wiggins has been part of a winning environment and a culture and a team that demands that he brings his best. Because that wasn't Minnesota. They knew they stunk. They were out here losing. It was what it was. Draymond and Steph and Steven, no. Even though we're not going to win a championship this year, we expect championship level habits. And he's got to build that. And because, of course, being in Minnesota, how would you have that? They don't win shit. So he's got to sort of figure out, oh, wow, these guys demand excellence of me all the time. And I've got to really, and when you're not used to that, that's hard. Rookie James Wiseman, he looks like he has the potential to be more than good, quite excellent. But he's still a rookie. Rookies make mistakes. They're going to screw around and do dumb things. Not screw around, but they're going to miss assignments and whatever because he's a rookie. Not only is he a rookie, he's a rookie who played 3 college games. So he has no idea what's going on out there, right? So it's just a lot. And I think what's happening to a lot of Warriors fans is they're seeing it as we're wasting another year of Steph Curry's prime. They're like, damn it, like, because the idea, Father Time undefeated. He ain't going to be this good forever. We can't waste another one in his prime. But listen, sometimes that's just how the cookie crumbles, unfortunately.
Love the analogy, Jarod. Now I want a cookie. All right. Let's talk about teams that will surprise us come the year's end. So we just shit on one of mine, but so my argument might not be great, but my 2 teams are, and one of them should be obvious, the New York Knicks. And I say that because, again, hey, we know what's going on. We're not here. Slow and steady wins the race. We are not here to be a chip contender or this and that, The vibe is good in New York right now. Tom Thibodeau is doing wonderful. And I just think the coaching and the roster that they have right now, RJ Barrett makes me continually nervous a lot, but the roster that they have, they're doing well. Julius Randle, I mean, come on. Talk about a man who deserves his flowers. He's performing so well right now. Shout out to his wife, who I'm friends with, Kendra. But, yeah, that's just my vibe in New York. I think we're going to continue to see improvement, and I think this is going to be the start of the rebuild that's actually going to work.
Okay.
And like I said, we just shit on this one, but Pelicans, I want it to work so badly. It was like, who was it? Jennifer Lopez and P. Diddy. God damn, you wanted it to work.
So did Diddy.
But look what happened. Look what happened. Yeah.
Not bad picks. I think for me, my 2 teams that'll surprise. I mentioned one of them, the Memphis Grizzlies. I think when they get Jaren Jackson Jr. back, I just think this team's
your guy.
This team's gonna be been on the pod, of course. This team's gonna be a little fun, and I think they can go on a little bit of a run here and potentially get themselves into potentially that play-in area at 10. So yeah, watch out for the Grizzlies. My other surprise team, I think, will be the Toronto Raptors. I think they kind of figured some things out. The defense is starting to play well again. I think they could sneak in because they started the year off horrendously, and it was like, yikes, what is going on here? I think they can find themselves back into the playoffs here because the bottom of the East, now that things teams are starting to sort of settle into who they are, right? Orlando and Cleveland, after those hot starts to the season, all right, they're kind of mellowing back out to who we thought they were, right? So I think Toronto will find its way by the end of the season.
So interesting. I love that because, again, we're almost writing both of those teams off not too long ago. So to see the improvement, you got to love it.
No doubt.
And you just love to see it. So let's move on because we got to talk about early MVP frontrunners. We already dropped a few tidbits in our previous conversations here today, but let's really lay it out here, all right? Who are your obvious favorite MVP frontrunners at this point in the season?
Well, I will say this to start things off. MVP is a narrative-based award, which we know, right? What's the story?
I love when you define
what's the narrative? Because that's, and coming into the season, it was Luka Doncic, right? He's your next MVP candidate. And, he didn't really shoot. I mean, he's starting to shoot a little bit better now. He's not shooting the ball well to start the year, but he's putting up numbers. And the Mavericks are starting to win a little bit, although they're struggling right now, right? They've got Dorian Finney-Smith, Josh Richardson, Maxi Kleber, Dwight Powell, all these guys are out for various things, COVID protocol, injury, etc. They just got KP back. So,
Right.
Luka was the narrative talk coming in. So, I think that people need to be mindful of what's the narrative talk, right? Okay. If you pick MVP, right, best player on the best team, I mean, you can make an argument that LeBron James could be an MVP, but, narrative wise, they're not giving him the award. It's just, the NBA writers, it isn't going to fit. So that is what it is. We talked about Joel Embiid. He's putting up monster numbers, and the Sixers are playing well record-wise. Again, their schedule has been a little soft. We'll see what it's like when they start playing some really tough teams. Nikola Jokic already mentioned him. Damn near averaging a triple-double. Denver's starting to turn it on here. He's for sure a top-level MVP candidate. And look, people say what they want. The regular season the MVP is a regular season award. The Clippers have the second best record in the league. Paul George playing really well. Okay, as much as you're like, he shot the ball at the side of the backboard. All true. But he is playing like an MVP right now in the regular season. So those guys that I mentioned right now, those are the guys who I see as front runners. Another front runner. Duh, how could I forget? Off an Achilles injury in Brooklyn, averaging 31 points a game, almost 8 boards, 6 assists on 50, 40-something, 89 splits. Kevin Durant, I mean, for sure.
I was waiting for it. I was waiting for it. I love how you teed it up, and smart to say that it was Luka going into this. I remember prepping for the season. It's him. He's the next one. Blah blah blah. My list, literally, that I'm looking at right now is, I guess in no particular order, but obvious favorites: LeBron James, because you pointed out performing at the highest level, performing on the best team. It's a no-brainer if you're checking boxes.
Right.
Plain like that.
Except we know they ain't going to give it to him, so.
Right. It's a controversial pick because it's LeBron James. Why give him more flowers, I guess. I love flowers today. But don't get me started right there because I'll get hot.
Yeah, let's not get hot and bothered.
Yeah. So, and then I have obviously Joel Embiid because he is the headline of the week, we'll say.
He's your conference player of the week.
Runner right now. He is the conversation starter at the moment. Hopefully he can maintain because, again, regular season award, that's what an MVP is. And then I obviously have Kevin Durant because if you can think of a better freaking narrative than this man coming off an Achilles injury on a new team and he's back like he stubbed his toe for real. Literally, I want to see the receipts. Did this man
stop being crazy. Stop being crazy.
No, not being a conspiracy theorist. He did. However, come on, it's crazy. You don't see this type of bounce back really ever, except for like Kobe, and he wasn't even fully.
Kobe's at the end of his career. The thing that matters here is that Durant had a full 18 months off, right? The COVID slowdown, shutdown, and all that helped him, right? The season starting later than normal, that was all helpful for him. And number two, he's 7 feet tall. That helps. And he's an excellent shooter. So while some of the athleticism may be gone, he can still rise up and shoot the ball. He's still an elite shooter. That ain't going away. So, I mean, you know what I'm saying? So
you don't need that Achilles to shoot the ball.
So he's still excellent at that, and to be able to come by and do it here, I will say, net fans, though, caution yourself. And Steve Nash talked about this. He's playing a lot of minutes right now, and coming off an Achilles injury, he shouldn't be averaging damn near 37, 38 minutes a game. That's a lot of minutes. You got to find a way to, and it's tough because Nash is trying to get the team to blend together and figure out, how they're going to coexist. Listen, man, you want to be playing late at the end of the season. He can't be averaging these kind of minutes right now.
Exactly. And hey, aside from managing the team and how they coexist and all that, it's also kind of I don't want to phrase it the wrong way, but it's almost like a test, or all eyes are on Nash right now because, again, it's his debut season as a coach. And let's be serious, if we're talking about who are the best players in the league, LeBron James and Kevin Durant. So every time LeBron goes to a different team, I feel like the coach is always under a microscope and things like that. So I feel It's the same way in Brooklyn.
Yeah,
So
the pressure's
you're not
there.
going to bench Kevin Durant.
No.
So it's kind of like you got to ride that fine line because, again, he is your franchise player. Again, at the end of the day, people are buying his jerseys more so than, the second unit. So
Yeah, no,
you got to do what you got to do.
it's the entire Brooklyn franchise has championship aspirations, so everybody's feeling that, not just the players, but the
Right.
coaching staff as well.
It's going to be interesting too, though. Like you said, championship aspirations. It's going to be interesting to see how they execute Kevin Durant for the rest of the season within minutes and the postseason. Because, hey, I mean, there's going to be tough decisions to be made in the postseason when
doubt.
it comes down to, put the player first, put the health first, and things of that nature. We'll talk about that when it comes to the time. But let's move on real quick here. Sleeper MVP frontrunners. Who do you got?
I'm just gonna go with one right now, and
Okay.
someone who I like. I love Jaylen Brown on the Boston Celtics right now. He is
Ooh.
playing so well. This would be quite a jump, but I mean, you could argue he's playing better than Jason Tatum. I mean, they're not granted Tatum was in COVID protocol, but like I think
Right.
a lot of people are being surprised by the offensive game that Jaylen Brown has been showing. I mean, he put up 30-something points in like 19 or 20 minutes the other day. I mean, he is that three balls there. He's creating off the bounce. We already know what an excellent defender he is. I mean, Jaylen Brown he's up there. He is up there, man. And if Boston plays well, and as they get Kemba back reintegrated and they continue to perform, and he still is doing what he's doing, look out.
I like that pick a lot, actually, and that is
Well,
a good
thank you.
sleeper.
Thank you.
It is a good sleeper. I enjoy. Yeah, he's tearing it up there in Massachusetts. So my sleeper, even though his team actually blows, Damian Lillard. I have
Well, Dame is a
low-key
sleeper.
vibes.
Okay. Well, here's the thing.
Low-key vibes, but
If Portland's gonna be good, it's gonna be because Damian Lillard's balling the hell out because they got nobody else. So that makes sense.
exactly. And hey, if CJ wasn't injured, man, this would be like the best sleeper pick ever because Dame is Dame. But on another note, because I don't want to look too far into this sleeper shit, but Nikola Jokic, I have him under sleepers because I personally just feel like he is never in the conversation. I don't know why.
He is
He's
now.
performing,
but,
the numbers are there, but he just isn't. I mean, if you think about it, like nobody's really naming like, "Yo, I got Nikola Jokic," and then like 20,000 people are like, "I got Braun." Like, okay,
Well, that's sort of that's your difference between like your casual NBA fan and your diehard, right? Because your casual doesn't know Nikola Jokic for the most part, right? Your diehards know LeBron, they know Kevin Durant, they know those Steph Curry, they know those names. James Harden, they don't know
Exactly.
who's Nikola Jokic, but people who watch
And
the
speaking of
NBA
Harden,
know Jokic.
I would love to put him in that running. So
Well, that's the thing about the Nets, right? They have so much star power. They'll start taking away votes from one another, right? And then it won't be so much of it. I think Harden, by the way, kind of playing his role as like a facilitator right now.
he is,
It's
and he's smiling while doing it.
he's working his way in. No, it's all been interesting in Brooklyn. Brooklyn is an interesting experiment.
I like it. I like it a lot. That was fun. I like to do that little check-in so we know where we're at here. But again, like we said, it can change anytime, any day, really. But let's chat a little bit about some headlines here because there's some interesting stuff rolling around the NBA. We'll start with a celebratory one because, of course, I don't know. I told y'all a couple weeks ago y'all were sleeping on Steph Curry, and then he had to go and do this shit. Steph Curry passed Reggie Miller for number 2 on the all-time in three-pointers made. Hall of Famer Reggie Miller, all right? That is a coveted spot. And am I surprised that Steph Curry did it? No, but dang, 2,561 career three-pointers, all right? He is 411 away from falling behind Hall of Famer Ray Allen.
So look,
That's nice company.
I mean, Steph is of course the greatest shooter in NBA history, and mind you, he passed Miller for number 2 and did it in significantly less games than Miller did it. Right, and it's because of the advent of the way the game is played now with the barrage of threes that are taken. And if Steph stays healthy, all things being equal, he will pass Ray Allen for number 1 sometime the end of next season. Right, like, and that's just and he will set that record so far out of reach. Like, it's going to have to take someone coming in, literally taking 12 to 15 threes a game to eclipse it, right? But Steph's incredible. He's amazing. Hell of an accomplishment for him. And kudos.
I love it. And I love a good moment too. Reggie Miller and his son
Yep.
gave a little nice comments to him, and the son was wearing Steph's jersey. I was like, oh,
you
don't
love
do it to me.
you love all that made for TV stuff.
Oh, I love it. Just give me a good photo op. I'm Gucci. All right, let's talk about this one though, because this has got me hype AF, even though it's only a report right now. So let's calm down a little bit here. All right, is NBA going to host an All-Star game in Atlanta? That is the rumblings that is being heard at ESPN, that the NBA and the NBPA have had light discussions of possibly taking the All-Star game to a smaller capacity down in Atlanta, obviously the home of Turner Sports. I mean,
The Hawks.
and ironically, the Hawks, everything, and the facilities that they may be chatting with here are the HBCU campus gyms, things of that nature. Apparently, reportedly, allegedly, Chris Paul is somewhat on board with this and is very encouraging of the aspect of it being a way to have COVID relief funds and to highlight the Black Lives Matter movement and things of that nature. I like the intention, but is it too early to be doing that?
So I'm cynical. So no,
I know.
I'm not down with this. Look, if the NBA actually cares about HBCUs and cares about COVID relief, just write a check. You don't need to play no games. If you actually want to help these organizations out, historically black colleges and universities, and help COVID relief, write a check. You don't have an All-Star game in Atlanta, of all places, where the numbers of COVID cases are high because the people in Atlanta are still partying and having nightlife. Like, what virus? What's happening down here? What a horrendous idea. Like, terrible. And you want to have fans there? This is horrible. Horrible. So dumb. So dumb. Listen, we know what this is about. This is about money. I get it. The league is like, nah, if we have an All-Star game, we can make some money. Unless you're telling me 100% of every dime made goes straight to HBCUs and COVID relief, I'll consider it. But that ain't going to be what it is. That's not it. They're going to find some loophole way, whatever. Look, with so many games being postponed, you know what the NBA could really use? Is that week off that they were going to have for All-Star break where no one's traveling and doing anything. That's what they could use. Because now, when you have All-Star, you're going to have COVID and contact tracing, right? Because you're going to have certain players from teams leaving to go to Atlanta. Who knows what's going to happen down there, coming back to their teams, right? No. No. I am out on the NBA having an All-Star game in Atlanta. Out.
Oh my God, you kill me. Hey guys, no verification, no confirmation. There is rumored that March 7th it would take place. The NBA has their All-Star break from the March 5th to the 10th. Again, no confirmation on that one, but it would be interesting. However, I think it would definitely be taking multiple steps back from where we are right now, where we can't even play full games with full rosters.
Yeah, you out here trying to have an All-Star game when you're postponing regular games. Like, what? No.
What the heck?
No.
Interesting report there. We'll keep you guys updated, but I'm not optimistic about that one.
No.
We got to talk about this next one because Jarod decided to write on the show list that we have here, the show run, that LeBron is taking things personally. Interesting. I didn't write that. However, if you guys didn't tune in to the Lakers-Cavs game the other night, on Monday, it was March 25th. Sorry, this episode will be out soon. But
March? No, January. Where are you at March?
Oh my God. Because I was just reading the All-Star stuff. It's been a week, all right? Today,
it's only Tuesday. How's it been a week? It's only Tuesday.
Oh, shit.
You don't even know
what. It's already been a week, damn it. All right, listen, on some real ish here. LeBron James puts on a show in Cleveland on the 25th of January, okay? He made it rain in his old stomping grounds of Ohio, dropped 46 in the Lakers win 115-108 over the Cavs. But interestingly enough, going into the fourth, the Cavs. And then he looks over, sees one of the execs for the Cavs celebrating a little too hard, a little too much, he said. And that was the basketball chief of staff for the Cavs. That was Jason Hillman anyway. And he said he was celebrating a little too much, so then he had to just come back in the fourth and make it rain. And he called that home cooking. Home cooking.
Like we're not going to belabor this point, but what I love is the petty level on LeBron. Like that's some Jordan-esque type stuff, right? We all remember The Last Dance, and we all remember the famous Jordan meme that exists now, where it's like, and I took that personally, right? Like, and LeBron clearly thought that he was celebrating a little too hard after he missed that shot at the end of the third, so he took that personally, as if he needed any more motivation. No, but that's the thing about elite athletes. They will find the slightest thing and turn it into a mountain, and that's all they need is to get their juices revved up and flowing. And LeBron, I mean, he had a great game, shot 7 of 11 from three-point land. His three-point shot, by the way, this year is outstanding. Actually shooting quite well. I mean, look, he took it personally. It happens. You know, should have known better.
Oh my God. Keep going, Jarod. Keep talking.
Nope. Next point. Next story.
Lastly, what I will say, yeah, he put on a show. Great job. Loved it, LBJ. The comments were hilarious. Loved the motivation. Athletes of his caliber and nature, which there are very few of them in any league, have the ability to do that and turn that switch on and off. And it's fascinating and incredible to see. It never gets old. What I will say is, did you see him and Kevin Love doing a little handshake back and forth? Somebody needs to tell me if LeBron James practices handshakes before he goes to see his old teammates.
Probably.
Because I don't believe that he knows all of them, and they are complicated.
I mean,
it is not just a simple.
He does have a photographic memory, so I mean, you know, you got to figure with Kevin as his teammate for all those years, they've done that handshake. I don't know, at least 1,000 times, maybe more. Who knows?
Very
So
true.
you know, so it's all muscle memory.
Hey, muscle memory it is. Let's go down to the Miami Heat because we got to talk about how they're going to keep the party going per usual, or try to anyway, by using COVID sniffing dogs. Didn't even know that was a thing, but by using COVID sniffing dogs starting this week to have a limited number of season ticket holders in the arena. Now, they've been having some here and there, which have included family, friends, things of that nature, close to the players and whatnot. But they really, at American Airlines Arena, are going to have COVID sniffing dogs to make sure that, you know, people can pass, obviously, before they go in. But other than that, Miami's about to light this arena up. What do you think about this?
Listen, if the NBA is letting you know above all else, and it's fine, I'm not judging them for this, they about that money. Okay? They're like, we got to get fans back in here so we can get money. I get it. Listen, COVID sniffing dogs. I mean, I could think of some other places that they might be more useful, but you know, is what it is.
Is what it is. We shall see how that goes. I'm interested to see how it's going to be set up. Are you just going to go wait to be checked out by the dog? I don't know. But let's move on here. We got some good news about Caris LeVert. As we told you guys last episode, he was involved in a team trade from the Nets to the Pacers, and when he underwent his physical, they found something on his kidney, a mass. Now we know that it was cancer, and he has successfully had it removed through a successful surgery in Indianapolis. The team has notified the public and said that there is no further treatment needed. He's expected to make a full recovery, and he is out indefinitely for now. But great news on that front. I mean, wow, how scary to find cancer.
Yeah.
I mean, and they removed it. I mean, God bless. I mean, good for him. I mean, full recovery. That's just great.
Yeah. So the official medical term for what Caris has is renal cell carcinoma. And he...
Yes. Thank you for backing me up.
No problem. He, again, if that trade didn't happen, they would have never found it, because the Nets wouldn't have done that kind of physical on him in the middle of the season. It might have been a whole other year before anything would be discovered, if at all. So,
a whole year.
Yeah. So it's a lucky thing that, you know, he was getting traded, and the Pacers, kudos on them doing, you know, not voiding the trade, you know, keeping Caris, and like, no, we're standing by him. We know he's gonna be healthy, and you know, he expects to have a full recovery, everything good,
Yeah.
and you know, I know Caris, you know, he's on the mend, and he can't wait to get out there and join his teammates on the floor.
Right, right. And you've spoken to him on many occasions,
Hmm.
so I'm sure this is very more personal to you.
Karras is one of
So,
the nicest players in the league. He is just a really nice, humble young man. Really, really nice kid.
oh, love to hear it. So glad he's doing well. Wishing him continued recovery and good vibes over
Hmm.
there in Indiana. So, lastly, we need to end this episode on January 26th and acknowledge that it is the 1 year anniversary of the tragic deaths of Kobe Bean Bryant and his 13-year-old daughter, Gianna, who would have been 15 this year. He would have been 43 in August. As you guys know, Kobe and Gianna, along with 7 others, perished in a helicopter crash 1 year to the date ago today in Calabasas, California. And it was a day that rocked the world, rocked the NBA world, rocked it touched so many lives outside of the league. I mean, he was an Oscar winner, 5-time NBA champion, 2-time NBA Finals MVP, and the list goes on. I'm just listing the obvious accolades. I mean, he was a father first and foremost, and that is what everyone, his colleagues, his friends, his teammates will tell you. And he just gone too soon. I mean, it is just an awful tragedy. Vanessa Bryant came out on social media today and said she still doesn't understand how this could happen to somebody so good as her husband and her daughter Gigi. And again, I would think the same thing. I just still at a loss for words, and it is a very hard thing to talk about still. And I didn't know him,
Yeah.
obviously. I've met him briefly once, and it was the greatest memory of him at the Tribeca Film Festival when he premiered Dear Basketball, and I
Hmm.
saw it in a small group of people, and he was like right there. But yeah,
Yeah, I
that
mean,
he was a great man.
it you know, we a year ago to the day we did an episode maybe a few weeks after
Hmm.
where I shared some words and some thoughts and my experience the one time I did meet him. I also met him that year at Tribeca Film Festival. I met him and his wife and Natalia and
You
Gigi
asked
at the
some
time.
questions, right? I think
Oh
I
yeah.
saw you on
Oh
the
yeah.
carpet.
Oh yeah, on the
Yeah, I
carpet.
saw you.
We were chatting it up.
I saw you.
And that Kobe's death last year kind of, it seems like it fed right into COVID, and then just sort of like this year of just like horrendousness, right? Like that's not even a word, but you know what I mean. This it was just a year like a black cloud just sort of hanging over everything. And now it's almost surreal that it's a year later, because it again simultaneously feels like it just happened, but it also feels like it happened so long ago. It's so strange in that way. And I know there are a lot of people on the internet and all sorts of things putting out Kobe messages, and obviously I know it speaks to what he meant to so many people, but what we all need to remember and not lose sight of are the people that are grieving and matter the most is Kobe's extended family, his wife Vanessa, and his 2 remaining daughters. Right, like they are the ones who are grieving the loss of a husband, a father,
Hmm.
and a sister. And I just think that is so important, and people need to remember that when they're out posting whatever they're posting. And
Yes.
most of you didn't know this human being, okay? They did. So this is visceral for them on a completely different level, and we all need to remember and respect that.
100%. And today, especially, but every day, we remember Kobe because if anybody can agree on anything, it's that he is more, if not more relevant now than he was, or just as much. I mean, he's everywhere. The Mamba mentality, as you know, is real. And the league's players really, really embrace that more than ever now. So, again, we send our best to the Bryant family, Vanessa and the girls. And we will always remember Kobe Bean Bryant, as one of the greatest men to ever pick up a basketball.
No doubt. And as always, folks, you know where to find us: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. We are on Twitter at 7 Footers Podcast, on Instagram at 7 Footers Pod. I think I inversed those. We're 7 Footers Pod on Twitter, at 7 Footers Podcast on Instagram, at JS Hector, at Jenna Lemoncelli, and we will see you guys next time. Peace.
Peace.
Spent a couple years out here with these raps, trying to have a plan that we made come true. Applied to some jobs, but I ain't hit back. I don't wanna trap, what's a man gon' do? Chevy told me come